You can tell how lazy I am. I don't like to do a cleanup. So I've got a little bit of parchment paper on my cookie sheets, which is what I'm going to be using. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to have a meatball that's about that size there, and we should get 24 on each one, give or take. And this is how you can judge how lazy somebody is when they're putting their meatballs on the tray. They'll get progressively bigger. Oops. They'll get progressively bigger as time goes by, just because you can tell that they're trying to use up what's left in the bowl. Those are pretty big. So we'll go just a notch smaller here. This is the texture I'm trying for. This is the, yeah, that looks pretty good. It's right about now that we use the time-lapse function on the editing. So here we have the meatballs, and of course I don't think we're going to need to crush any more cornflakes, so we better do something with that wine. Happy New Year. Oh! This is where it comes into play about overworking the meat. I know a lot of people like to roll it and roll it and roll it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be rolled and rolled and rolled into a perfect ball with no cracks or anything like that. That's ridiculous. Give it a shape, generally the shape of a ball, put it on the tray, and cook it. People do that with cookies too. My sister Cecilia, who happens to be a fantastic cook, will attest to that. My sister Cecilia cooks this kind of stuff. She could cook this in her sleep. As a matter of fact, anybody could cook this in their sleep. This has got to be the easiest possible fake it recipe ever in the world. Meatballs. That's exactly what they are. Meat formed into a ball. You put into it whatever you want. If you want to put into your meatballs, well, geez, what could you put into a meatball? You could put bacon bits into a meatball, and it would come out fine. You could put a little bit of butter in there to moisten it up. Anything. I know some guys on my ship, they are constantly adding hot sauce to everything. If that's what you like is hot sauce, then more power to you. Go ahead and add it. I'm not crazy about that kind of stuff myself. I don't like to have so much heat in something that you just can't enjoy it. You know, if you're sitting there drinking beer after beer after beer, and you want to have really, really hot, spicy stuff to help you, you know, celebrate or enjoy the evening, then yeah, sure, go ahead. Not my cup of tea, so to speak. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do a little bit more here. This is great if you want to have spaghetti and meatballs. If you got 2 pounds of ground beef and you want to do spaghetti and meatballs, what I like to do is I'll use 1 pound of the ground beef for making the sauce. Just brown it up into a pan and then add it to the spaghetti sauce, and then I'll use the other pound of ground beef for meatballs and then add them, because that way you can my oven is ready at 375 degrees convection, by the way, and then you can add the add to the sauce. You can add onions and celery, and you throw in some carrots, mushrooms, whatever, but this is always nice. Those are huge meatballs. That's ridiculously huge. I may have to reduce my temperature in the oven because of the size, which will also determine the size of the meatballs. Also determines the cook time and the cook temperature of the oven. If this is 375 degree convection, the size of the meatball should probably be ideally, I don't know, less than that. But again, because I'm lazy and I want to get it done, get it over with, this is the size I'm going with. And if I happen to end up with a little bit less than 48 meatballs, so be it. Mind you, if I had added another couple of eggs and a little bit more cornflakes or breadcrumbs or whatever, then I would have stretched it out, and I could, you know, depending on how much you want to stretch it out, you could double it easily without actually compromising too much on the flavor. You still have a nice flavor. That's going to come back and bite me. This is much better with fresh, finely chopped onions. Time lapse. Help me out here. Okay, now obviously I'm a few short of the 48 that I wanted to. Now, of course, what you can do is, if you really want to finish it off here, you take these 2 meatballs and make 3 meatballs. That gives me 1. Take these 2 meatballs and give me 3 meatballs. Just an example. We're not going to do that for the whole thing. Just an example.